Hey everybody, welcome to the Blips Podcast for April 7th, 2013. I'm Andy Ryan. I'm a bad enough dude to rescue President Ronnie. Joining me as always is the Dr. Ying to my kid Yang, Dave DeWart. Dave, what are you playing this week? Wow, I'm amazed I got that intro out.
Oh, I know, that only took 4 times. So we talked about last week how Disgaea is on the PS Vita for free from PlayStation Plus. I actually put some time into it this week.
Free.
I've already lost the game and got the bad ending where the pink-haired girl.
Rasbarrel,
yeah.
Oh, I love Rasbarrel.
She wins.
Awesome.
She wins the hero and all that.
Yeah.
So you start over, and I was like, really? So I started over and I did through all the stuff, and now I've just kind of been doing some of the item world stuff to grind my guys up. Although I have like a martial art kind of guy, and he's the only one that's really getting any levels because he can't die. He has such a high dodge chance. So.
Yeah, and the other thing is you get more XP if you land the killing blow.
Yeah, you do.
By a large
and because
margin.
that guy gets so many counterattacks.
Yes.
So, like the counter.
Yes, so I usually end up, because I'm a Disgaea player, I've played a lot of them, is I usually end up using my archer and my mage, which are probably the blonde girl and the redheaded girl in yours.
They are.
Yeah, because they're the starting team.
Speaking of, how do I get my archer to go back to being able to cast spells? Because I switched out a staff with her, and now I can't get her to cast spells anymore. I'll show you when we on launch.
Yeah. You should always be able to. I mean, it's in the special menu.
She's in my healer, and she has the special's not lit up anymore. So.
Well, she might be out of SP spell points. Okay, I'll look at lunch. Anyway, so I usually use those two to land the killing blow.
So that they get XP.
So that they burn up XP. The more XP they get, the more mana they get. The more mana they get, the more you can level up.
The longer they can heal.
The more you can level up their specials.
Yeah. That's right. Because mana isn't a.
It's
spell a currency points. Instead of
spell points is the stuff you burn to cast spells. Mana is the stuff you burn to upgrade spells.
Yeah.
And the more you upgrade spells, you can get different area of effects for the same spell.
Yeah.
So I've got my redhead. I love redheads. I got my redhead powered up enough that she can already do the 2-zone fireball spell, which really helps.
Well, yeah, because you can take out clusters of enemies.
Yeah. So
now, is it like tactics in the way that if you put a spell down and it takes up 9 tiles, it will ignore or it will damage all your guys if they're in there? Or?
It will damage your guys.
Okay. So it's a pure area, not it only ignores.
Yeah.
Only
but the area you can actually rotate. So you can
that's
usually
cool.
There's the area blocks are shaped weird enough that you can usually figure out a way
Tetris
to
blocks kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
To kind of bounce around characters.
That's cool. I mean, it seems like a really neat game, and I have
a
feeling I'm going to be
playing.
And
I love Rasbarrel. I can't wait. The one thing I'm really excited about is finally playing through the single-player game, and then the Rasbarrel add-on content. They added on another 2 chapters that focus only on her.
So you get to play like her team?
Yeah, and she ended up being, well, she joins your team eventually, spoiler alert, but she ends up being one of my favorite characters. Okay. Rasbarrel.
Just because of like how she plays or because of the character?
Because of the character.
Okay.
And it's all crazy anime tropey stuff. So.
Oh yeah, it's all goofy stuff. So far anyway. I've like I said, I've already lost the game once and I've probably only put about 3 more hours in, and it's all been in item worlds. Like I did the tutorial things again because they require you to do that.
You kind of build it up a bit.
Yeah, well.
And actually, when the Vita version, when you die, you carry over some of your stats when you reincarnate.
It's just what cycle 2 is what I'm on.
Yeah, I'm on cycle 2.
Are you supposed to lose the first one? Is that how that works?
No, because I didn't lose the first one in the console game.
Oh, aren't you special?
I mean, I just ground.
Yeah, okay.
So
what have you been up to?
Well, I've been playing more. I've been playing a lot of stuff, but we're once again focusing on one game
or
piece
so games
now.
at a time.
So I've been playing a lot of Lunar 2 Eternal Blue complete, and I'm getting.
Still haven't beat that game, have you?
It's a long game. It's a very long game, but I'm to the point now where I can see the end. The
light is there.
So, my question to everyone out there is: in the past year, a couple months, I've managed to pick up both Skies of Arcadia and Grandia 2 for the Dreamcast, and I would really like to dust off my Dreamcast and give it a little love outside of Crazy Taxi and Gunbird. And
those games are both fun.
I know,
especially if you got the wheel for Crazy Taxi.
I don't got the wheel, but you just push the thumbstick up and then rotate it side to side.
Yeah, I know.
For those of you who don't know, that's how you play racing games on the Dreamcast. Thumbstick up, side to side. Don't do left and right like you normally would. Mm-hmm. You go up and then you rotate it around that curve.
Yeah, that's kind of simulates having a steering wheel.
It's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know until someone pointed it out to me, so I'm pointing it out to you guys. Anyway, so yes, so I would like to know, I would like input from the audience, I'd like input from anybody. Grandia 2, I haven't played Grandia 1, but I've been told they're different stories. But Grandia 2 versus Skies of Arcadia, which one will I like more? I'm right now leaning towards Grandia 2 because it's a game arts game, and I love me some game arts, as evidenced by the fact that I'm playing Lunar 2, Eternal Blue right now. But let me know. And if you feel strongly one way or the other, if you don't, I don't care.
I've heard good things about both, so I think it doesn't matter which one you choose, you will be well off playing either of those two games.
I'm sure. So like an Overworks game or a Game Arts game, I think I'm totally fine, but I have a choice, and I'm like, I don't know. So.
I don't know what I do. So. Well, that's good.
Actually, and since I mentioned Crazy Taxi, I'd also like to throw a big shout out to VG Generation, the game tournament here in Kansas City.
They ran a Crazy Taxi tournament.
They ran a Crazy Taxi tournament, which I didn't get to go to. I work on Friday nights when they normally run these things.
Yeah.
This next Friday, they're running a Mario Kart tournament at Screenland at the Crossroads, which you've heard us talk about a lot.
Oh yeah.
We really love it. It's our favorite
barcade.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. It's probably our favorite bar, the big bar in quotes, in the city.
It's a bar, movie theater, retro arcade.
Yeah. So VG Generation, they do game tournaments there once a month. So this tournament is Mario Kart and other things, but basically
primarily
Mario Kart 64.
Mario Kart's the one that we want to play. So.
Yes. So go check that out.
If you live in Kansas City.
If you live in Kansas City. And check out Screenland while you're there. They just got a Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet.
They're on the lookout for a Street Fighter 2, so if you know anything.
They have a conversion kit for a Street Fighter 2. So.
Something that'll fit a conversion kit.
Yeah. Like my shell knob does not fit a conversion kit.
No, we tried that. Didn't work.
So we need to kind of belt saw out or something. I don't know. So anyway, so VG Generation. So please check them out on Facebook. If you want to, we highly recommend that you become part of the Kansas City gamer. I hate using the word scene, but that seems like this is the thing you want to call it.
Culture, maybe?
Culture, yes. Environment.
Yes, maybe. Ecosystem.
Yes.
No, okay.
Horde? No.
No.
So yes, so get involved with them, and we think they're awesome guys. We will eventually show up there, I imagine.
Provided the stars align and his schedule works out that way.
So yeah, so VG Generation, check them out. Also, check out Screenland Crossroads. It's an awesome arcade. And like we said, they just got Mortal Kombat 2, which is the only Mortal Kombat you ever need to play.
I like 3, but you have a point. 2 is probably one of the better ones.
Even though 3 has Stryker, and he's like the worst character in any fighting game. And I am including Dan Hibiki.
No, Dan. Come on, that fireball that goes that far.
Dan Hibiki is at least like in shape.
I guess.
Stryker has a paunch.
Stryker has a beer gut. Okay.
So anyway, so what happened this week was this rumor's pretty persistent that the next Xbox is going to require an always-on connection.
Yeah, that's not going to be good. If that happens, we don't know if
that's
going to happen.
I highly doubt that's going to happen. I think it would be a very poor business decision on their part, but
it would be good for them-ish, kinda. They wouldn't have to worry so much about pirating games. They wouldn't, you'd be able to guarantee that everybody would have a connection that is at least decent enough. Yeah. But it's bad for us.
I think if they require an always-on connection, it's the next generation version of charging for online play.
Yeah, well.
I think there we go. That's the good analogy. Like, it's not going to kill the system, but it's not a good idea either.
No, I don't think it's a very good idea. I think it's something that'll be very, I don't know, anti-consumer almost, as in, like, if you live in a rural area.
I really hate that term.
It's not a good
because
term.
On the internet, anti-consumer gets thrown around in so many different ways, and it's not actually what it means.
Well, okay, it would be bad for people who live in an area in which broadband is not there. Like, they don't have broadband. Like, when I used to live with my mom's
Well, we've talked about it before. Like, the 100% downloadable future, I think, is once again still 10 years off.
It's going to be a ways out, yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have the penetration. We're not Korea.
No.
Specifically, we're not South Korea.
Yeah, well, no.
Hey, North Korea has the internet. I saw that picture of Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, well,
gotta remember that. Yeah, it's been a year. I should probably
should have had that down by now. Yeah.
But like an anti-consumerist measure in the Xbox would be like if you had to pay every single time you played a game.
Yeah, that would
be anti-consumer.
That would be to the extreme, yeah.
Yes, and that's like the definition of anti-consumer, is something that punishes your consumer base.
Yeah.
And requiring an online connection to have the console does not punish the console base. If it was something they'd already bought the console and then you added this in,
they turned it on.
That is anti-consumer. Like technically, like since it's hypothetical at the moment, it's really hypothetical, but
because we don't know anything concrete about the Nexus system. If it's a requirement of the system,
it's not anti-consumer.
Yeah.
Like,
but
if you bought your Xbox 360 and then 2 years in it only ran on HD TVs, that's anti-consumer.
Yeah.
A good example, the PS3. 2 years in, it stopped Linux support. That is actually anti-consumer because some people bought those boxes to run Linux on them.
Well, yeah, and then they would also use it to pirate games and things of that nature. So.
But I also think, as we talk about piracy, I think piracy, as we know it, the levels that we know it at, is going to go away in a very drastic way. And it's not going to be because of always online connections or DRM or any of these other things. It's going to be because it's going to be easier to get your games legally than to have to pirate them.
But it's free to pirate them, and that's the big trade-off. Why would I pay for anything if I can get it for free?
Because if it's harder to pirate...
But it's not right now.
It's
not right now.
Right now. That's
and in 5 years, it may not be either. In 10 years, it may not be either.
Well, I think the console makers and developers and publishers have found a way, specifically... The Steam model works wonders.
Oh, well, yeah, but the Steam model also has tons of sales all the time. So I would rather pay $3 for this game that came out 6 months ago
than pirate it for free, right?
Because then I always have access to it, but it's not like it's a giant investment. Now, if it was a $60 game that came out, and if Steam marks it down to $20, great. It's bad for the developers, good for me. I'm not going to buy a game at $60 day one unless I'm really into it. But if it's one of those games I just want to try, I might download it, see what I think, and then pay the $60. If I didn't like it, oh well. I will just delete it and get rid of it.
So what I view as the end of piracy is three things. And the first thing is sales. And Steam has shown that works.
Yes. And
Sony has now gone like, oh yeah, you guys are marking stuff down ludicrous amounts, and it sells really well. So let's start doing that too. Case in point, this Square Enix sale they just had. Yeah. I picked up Deus Ex Human Revolution for $10.
And that came out last summer?
Yeah.
Something like that?
So they're like, okay, yeah, like if we mark it down to this level,
people will buy it.
If we mark Red Faction Armageddon down to $5, it will sell.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of those things like Sony doing that shows that they've gotten that idea. Like, oh, this works on Steam.
It does work on Steam, and it works. It works in the Sony and Microsoft ecosystems as well.
Yes,
they just have to implement it, and maybe not exactly to the level that Steam does it, because obviously they have to keep the publishers happy.
I think you got to run before you can
walk before you can.
Well, run before you can fly, but they're already walking.
Yeah.
So I think Sony, because if you remember when Steam launched, they didn't have these crazy sales until...
Steam hardly worked when it first launched. Yeah. And everybody was totally anti-Steam, too.
Here we go. I'll go for it. If you remember a year after Steam launched, they didn't have these crazy sales. So they slowly got into this. Sony's slowly getting into this.
Yeah.
And that's especially with the PS Plus stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, the PlayStation Plus stuff is just, for people who are already paying the $15.
Yeah, it's a subscription and free games.
Well, it's a subscription plus games, and you get the discounts, and a lot of it is like, okay, now you get the 1 gig worth of cloud storage, plus your system will turn on automatically every night and update, which it should do anyway.
Yeah. Well, I imagine the next one will do that.
Let's hope. But we both love our PlayStation Plus accounts. Don't get us wrong. Like, we love PS Plus. It's just it's a lot of features that some of which should go free. Like the sales should be better. Well, I would think.
I would say the sales for
non-Plus users?
The sales for non-Plus users, I agree, have to be better.
They should be better, yeah.
I think the sales for Plus users, that markdown limit where they're at, I think that's genius.
Where they give us just a little bit more off.
Yeah, they give you just a little bit more off, and that little bit more off normally makes it right in the impulse buy area.
Yeah. It's usually, okay, now it's like $6 instead of $8 or whatever it is.
So that's pillar one, is this sales mentality. Is because if I want something that's old, I don't want to pay full price.
You don't want to pay $60 for a game that came out 4 years ago.
Bingo. So the second one is going to be delivery.
Yes.
And I think it was Gabe Newell, maybe. Sounds like something he would say.
Might be.
That piracy is not a monetary problem, it's a problem of access. That for the longest time, PC games were pirated so much because it was easier to pirate them than to go get them at the store.
Yeah, because PC gaming has fallen off in retail. It has been forever. Like I was at a store yesterday, and their PC gaming section is, maybe as wide as this table and 3 feet tall. That's
and
it.
It's all jewel case games.
It's like here's a whole bunch of Blizzard games, and then here's a bunch of Sims games, and that's it. Like,
so the access problem, I think Sony is doing an excellent job on, and I actually think Nintendo is doing an excellent job on. Like Nintendo at some point went, wait, they're paying like $300 for Little Samson on the NES. Maybe we should release that on the Virtual Shop for $6.
So that we can get it for like $5.
Because the people that just want to play that game will just want to play it. Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Now the collectors are going to want the cards. They're going to want as much as they can, and they'll pay whatever they think that game is worth.
Yeah. To actually have the cartridge.
And that's part of being a collector, is knowing the value of the game.
Like I sit in both worlds. I am a collector. I like having the thing, but at the same time, like I am also a realist and realize that I don't want to pay $300 to play Little Samson
for that game. Yeah.
So I will gladly experience it another way.
You play it for $4 on your Wii or $5.
So Nintendo and Sony, with access to their back catalog and the rarer titles, are one, and also Sony with the Day One Digital, also with Steam with Day One Digital, they're like, we're just going to make it really easy for you to sit in your house and not leave. And
if you want to give us $60, we'll give you the game. All you got to do is on the day of unlock it.
Now there's problems with that, like the preloading on Steam, the fact that the PlayStation Network runs slow
is atrocious.
Well, slow compared to every other system. We'll say that
it's pretty bad.
I come from a world of 14.4 modems,
so do I.
The world of pretty bad for me is always kind of very nebulous.
I had a 2800 baud modem at one point.
Ooh, I had a BBS. Anyway,
yeah, but I mean, that's the current hamstring with at least Sony's platform is their downloads they take forever.
Yeah,
like I downloaded Dark Souls last week. I let it run overnight and it still wasn't done.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm on Wi-Fi too.
Oh, okay.
But even then,
because here's the Dark Souls came free, and I got the email that they updated. So I went online. I was doing something upstairs on my Nintendo. So I went downstairs, fired up the PS3, went to the store, started downloading Dark Souls, came back 3 hours later, and it was done.
See, that's the other thing. Like, it shouldn't matter if I'm on Wi-Fi or not. The rate at which it was downloading was slower than the Wi-Fi is. So, I don't know, maybe if I was just doing it at the wrong day. I think I tried to do it on Tuesday night or whatever.
So, once again, I said, piracy's not going to go away now, but in the next generation, it'll be less. So, hopefully, the next generation, Sony has this download speed thought out.
You made a really good point before we started, is piracy has dropped off significantly. And it's not just because...
And I think publishers have seen that on the Steam side. And we'll get into that in a second, the third tier.
It's also not... It's because of a lot of different factors. Not just because it's easier to get to the games and they're getting cheaper. It's, you have things like Origin and Steam and I'm sure there's another one I'm forgetting about.
Uplay?
Yeah, and Uplay, that you have to, you buy the games through the stores, and then you have to be connected to the internet.
Yeah. So pillar one, just to review before we go to the last pillar. So pillar one was sales. Ease of access. That they realize that you're not going to want to pay full retail price for something that is not actually at a retail store.
Yeah. you don't get a box or something.
Yeah. So the second one is ease of access. It's always on. If you want to go there, you want to get Kuni, you want to download it, fine. Whatever. You can get it whenever you want, wherever you want, better than the retail store, because the retail store is going to close between...
At 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night.
It's going to close at 8 o'clock at night and not be back open until 10 in the morning, and you might want a game in those intervening hours. That's great. So that's one. that. So the third thing is, I think the publishers and developers have realized through Steam that if we do things right, if we make things well, they sell.
Yes.
Case in point, Far Cry 3 sold really well on the PC.
Not just because it is the, quote, visually superior version of that game.
No. But because it was built for PC.
Yes.
It didn't have, weird, if if you guys remember PC ports 5 years ago, they would have like
Grand Theft Auto 4. Yeah. It was a terrible PC port.
They'd have initially. When you were going through tutorials, it would tell you to like hit buttons that you didn't actually have. Like it was very clear that this was like a console game
that they then moved over to your PC. Yeah, no, and I remember that.
Yeah, and as PC games and console games become more similar architecture systems.
Yeah, especially with the we know the PS4 next gen and probably the Nextbox. They're all going to be kind of like PCs. And I actually I read an article, and I don't remember who said it, but they said that the PS4 is essentially a supercharged gaming PC, which I wouldn't say it's a supercharged gaming PC, but I would say it's a really nice gaming PC that is going to have some really, really awesome games on it come, next year.
Yeah.
It'll have a lot of really good games to start, but once they get the hardware down, after about a year of development, you'll start seeing some amazing stuff come out of that system.
So the developers are starting to understand that like there are certain schemes of DRM that do not work.
Yes.
And if we do this correctly, i.e. Far Cry 3, they're not going to mind about the DRM.
No. Well,
if we build it with the platform in mind, because the pirated versions used to have like, I remember I saw a pirated version of Grand Theft Auto 3 that had save states, multiple save states, different graphical filters you could add to it. Like it was pretty much the better version of that game on the PC. And it was because hackers and pirates went in and were like, okay, we got to strip all this stuff out. Let's add more stuff while we're in here. Yeah. So instead of getting like, what was it? I can't remember the game, but there was a PC port where like the graphical options were like set resolution and brightness.
The initial release of Borderlands was pretty atrocious. Like when Borderlands came out for the PC, you couldn't skip all the splash screens in the front. You couldn't. I mean, and this has nothing to do with piracy. Like it was bad to begin with. With a couple of mods, like people who made these mods out, you could skip all that. You could set your screen res to something other than 1080 or 720, because I think those were the only two options. And then it added like VSync and all this other stuff to it, and that was all done outside of what Gearbox put in that game.
And I think devs are realizing
same kind of thing with what he was talking about.
Yeah, like if we build this game for PC, we make it work well on PC, we sell it on Steam, we don't have to worry about piracy as much.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're still going to have people who steal it to steal it, right?
Yes.
Like, I got this game for free. Screw you, developers.
Which is always weird. I always hate that. I don't have money to play this game, so I'm going to pirate it. Like, well,
then get a job.
Don't play the game. Like, that's literally that's like saying I don't have money to buy this car, so I'm going to steal it.
Kinda, yeah.
I mean,
Yes, I understand. I can't afford this car, so I'm going to steal it. I can't afford this game, so I'm going to pirate it. Yeah. I understand that analogy, but I also understand...
I mean, there are places where piracy is acceptable, I think. Where, like, if there's no way you can legally obtain said game. If you live in North Korea, I'm sure there's not a dev in the world that will go, you pirated Borderlands, I'm sorry. Like, we hate you. Like, if you can't get it, you can't get it.
Yeah, or like that super rare NES card. If you really wanted to play, I don't know, DuckTales 2, because that thing is ridiculously hard to find.
You could horribly hard to find.
It's not as good. It's not as easy as say,
it's an uncommon to a rare card, but
If you wanted to play it in all the shops around you, and you can't find it on eBay.
How about Little Samson? Little Samson is a super rare card.
There we go.
Or Flintstones, what is it? Dinosaur Peak.
You want to play this game? Download an emulator, play the game. If all you're going to do is play the game, and you want to experience the game one time, then I would assume that is fairly fine for most people.
Yeah. Like, I have a MAME cabinet at home. A lot of those arcade games, they're never going to release again. And...
In fact, yeah.
I have a lot of those arcade games, the home versions of them. So, like,
You feel as though it's okay.
Well...
Ish.
Okay-ish. Like, I'm going, Like a good example is we built that arcade cabinet because I really wanted to play Dungeons & Dragons Shadows over Mystara because there was no way to play it at the time.
Yeah.
Well, now there is going to be a way. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, but you're still going to have it set up on your MAME cabinet because why not?
Well, yeah, because I want that experience. I want to stand up next to the MAME cabinet and do it. Yeah. So there's those areas where piracy is, I would say, a lighter shade of gray.
It's not as bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're never going to get away from that.
No, and there's always going to be people who are either figuring out a way to break the DRM.
Yeah, there's never going to be that. There's always going to be that guy that's like, I hate EA, but I want to play Battlefield, so I'm going to pirate it.
That's great. You won't be able to play online unless you... And
however they figure out how to do it. I hate Activision, so I'm going to pirate this.
Yeah. I hate Blizzard, so I'm going to pirate Diablo 3. Good luck, because all the stuff is done server-side.
Yeah, so like there's always going to be those people, and I think publishers and devs specifically, are understanding that like we want to keep that horrible, trollish
that mass
population to a minimum.
Yeah, put those guys off in their own little corner on an island. Yeah,
that core is what is making the pirated games that are getting out to the other people that, you know, they went to the store and they couldn't find it to buy. Yeah. They you know, they didn't have an always-on internet connection, so they can get around the DRM, like stuff like that. And I think that mid-ground, all the gray pirates, we'll say the gray pirates, that's what we're going at. That's what the devs are going after. That's what that population is going to decrease in this next generation, I would say in the next 10 years. And piracy will be back to, I would say...
a manageable level?
Yeah, I would say it's probably going to be back to early 90s.
Negligible
Don't copy that.
Loss.
Yeah, early 90s, don't copy that floppy levels.
Yeah.
Where it is literally like, you know, I have this game, it's really cool, here's a copy of it.
Yeah, don't copy the floppy. I don't even remember.
Don't copy that floppy. What?
I know. So, yeah.
And I think the rumor of an always-on Nextbox has grown out of this fear
that it will become a reality, and I could see how a lot of people would find that to be, you know, a bad thing.
I don't think it makes smart business sense.
It doesn't make good business sense, but I see why they would do it to help mitigate the secondary market, so your GameStops, finished stocks, things like that. And to help, like you said, mitigate the pirates. But the pirates will always find a way. Yeah. If they want to pirate, they will find a way around it. And even now, I think with this generation, pirating a console game is a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Than it's worth the trouble.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you have to do a whole
bunch
of modding.
Sega CD games. If you want to pirate Sega CD games, it's not hard.
Do you have a CD burner? You are golden.
Yeah. Do you have a 48X CD burner? Good. Set it to 8X, or actually set it to 1X if you really want to do it right.
Yeah. Dreamcast games, not that hard to pirate.
Find a bin burner and
yeah.
But since the PS2, I think we've steadily added more and more anti-piracy measures.
Well, yeah, they have.
You know. But I think the rumor of an always-on Xbox, the only way I think it makes sense is that if that always-on connection is so they can download more ads to your dashboard. Which I didn't understand how bad it was until someone showed me a picture of
a dashboard
of the current dashboard from the Xbox.
There's a lot of ads on that.
And I was like,
dashboard.
Wow. I was like, I didn't understand
that's
what you guys were all
makes
pissed about, because I like load up my PS3 and there's like 9 blocks and like 2 of those blocks are like MLB TV and like
things you
the
don't
Doritos challenge or whatever not, but I have to click on them to look at them.
Yeah, it's not like a video that plays as soon as you bring up your dashboard. Like I haven't turned my Xbox on in months, and it's not because I hate my Xbox. It's because I was dumb.
He's a Sony fanboy.
It's because, well, no, that's him.
He's sucking on Kasurai's teat.
No.
I said teat.
I'm swinging from steam here. I'm more of a PC person. It's not because I hate my Xbox. It's because I was a dumbass and bought a 4 gig Xbox instead of buying one with a hard drive. And 2, I just don't have any games I want to play on it. Like, I haven't been playing a lot of PS3 games. I haven't been playing a lot of anything except on my PC as of late. So I've been playing my Vita because it's like, well, I can play it at lunch at work. So
this is why portable systems are amazing.
Well, I could do some similar stuff on my phone too, but I don't want to kill my phone battery.
So piracy and the rumor of the always-on Xbox, I think, are both growing out of the same spot, and that same negative spot in gamerness is
kind of like what we talked about last week, where it's like
there's negativity, and I think people latch on to this is a bad story.
It's not a bad story. It would just not be as good a news as we would hope.
This is going to make people click on my link.
Yeah,
and I think.
Well, and you know, people who do this professionally have to get those links.
Yeah,
they have to get those clicks so that they get ad revenue, so that they can feed.
To use what we talked about last time, the triangle of everyone hating each other. The journalist finds this story and it's like, oh, this is going to get me clicks, even though it's really kind of sensationalistic and it's not really up to journalistic standards.
But
But we did have this leak from this guy that has these documents that we can attribute to other people they're saying these documents are real. So, okay, we'll kind of go with this. So that gets them links. That goes out to the publisher dev side, in this case, Microsoft, who is going to say, no comment, blah, 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 legalese.
Yeah.
But then this guy on Twitter comes out and says, I don't understand what the problem is with always on. Your cell phone's always on. Mine's not.
When your cell phone is turned on.
So that negativity branches out to the fan base, because it's on Twitter where the fan base can directly interact with them. And the fan base just seems like we're just constantly twitching for something to freak out about.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
Especially that Francis guy. The YouTube Francis guy, the big guy.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Dude, he needs heart pills. I am scared for his life.
I believe that was set up, but okay.
Very angry at everything.
Maybe that's his point. That's how he gets his clicks.
Well, yeah, but clicks aren't worth a heart attack.
Maybe it's fake. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I think I've watched like half a video this guy's done.
Yeah. So. Anyway, so the negativity then, the negative fan base gets negative. They comment negative on the journalistic ad. Goes back up. We keep going the negativity, and we don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know anything.
Granted, Microsoft's probably not going to come out at E3 or whenever they announce the Xbox and say, "Hey, it's going to have always on. You're not going to be able to play used games. You're not going to be able to play pirate games. You got to pay $100 or you pay $300 for the console, and then sign up for
$70 a month or $70 a year.
Sign up for a contract for Xbox Live for 3 years.
Yeah,
they're not going to say that.
Well,
we don't know that.
They would say some of that, but they wouldn't say all of that.
If any of that were true, I would not say it when you announce the console.
No.
I would literally wait until like 3 months, not even 3 months, that's too much time. I would wait until a month before the console launches
and
have a special event and be like, here's all the crap we don't want to tell you about.
Yeah, no, and now they're saying...
And Sony could do that too. We're just using Microsoft because we're talking about Microsoft today.
Yeah, and we don't even know, like you said, you don't know if they're going to do it at E3, and now there's rumors it's going to happen in May versus April.
Well, I never believed it would happen in April, and I still don't believe it'll happen in May. May's too close to E3. You should just do it at E3.
Well, maybe they want to...
Maybe they'll still do it in April. We don't know. It's all rumors. It's all conjecture. We don't know anything, so there's no reason to get crazy.
Yeah. It's fun to speculate, and we'll probably do what's going to be in the Nextbox.
Yeah, when they announce the Xbox,
when they say,
event,
hey, we're going to do
a speculation thing like we did for the PS3, because there are things about the Xbox that I enjoy, that I like. I think it serves a niche and it serves an audience. And
name one thing about the Xbox you like.
That everyone has it.
It has a very large install base.
The Xbox has an active install base.
Yes.
I'll say that. I love the Xbox's install base.
See,
I love how active they are.
I have an Xbox, but I don't pay for Live. So am I part of that install base or no?
Yeah. Well, you're not. Because you can't play online. So.
I could.
Let's see, what else do I love about the Xbox? I actually like its dashboard.
The dashboard is nice and snappy. That is one thing, and their store is pretty quick to respond. It's a lot faster than Sony's.
I like Sony's design better, but you're right. That thing's kind of slow and
atrocious.
A little bit of a piece of junk.
Yeah, I like the blue store. I don't like the black store so much.
Yeah, but the blue store does a better job. Wait.
The Sony's blue store versus the Sony's current black store.
The black store does a better job of showcasing items, and I like that more. I just wish it loaded quicker, and it was easier to get the things that are not showcased.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anywho. So don't freak out.
Yeah, it's not that big a
deal.
And
don't pirate shit. And let's work together. Yeah. The Retron 5 is coming out. Where you'll be able to play
NES, Famicom, Super NES, and Genesis? And Game Boy Advance cards.
Way more than that, actually. You'll be able to play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance.
Anything that'll fit in a GBA slot.
From all regions. Genesis, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, from all regions.
Okay.
So for me as a collector, that's a big thing because now,
you have one box that fits under your TV and you're covered. Well, fits next to your TV because under is not so much with the carts.
Top loader. But since carts for, let's say you mentioned DuckTales 2 earlier, the American cart for DuckTales 2 will retail anywhere from $60 to $70.
But the PAL or Japanese ones are cheaper.
Yeah, the Japanese one goes for about $30 and the PAL one goes for about $40. So I can go buy that PAL one because it's in English.
You can play the
Thank
Japanese
you, Europe.
You can play the Japanese one.
Well, I'm sure.
It's DuckTales. It's not like it's Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Where you have to know what's going on.
So anyway, so this Retron 5 will allow collectors and people that are not collectors that just want to go out and go to retro games will allow access to these retro games. And we don't need to wait for the gatekeeper that is licensing agreements to say, go.
You can play this on the PS3, or you can play this on your Xbox, or you can play this on your Wii or any of that.
So we're at a very good time, and we need to be positive, and we need to not pirate things.
Yes, piracy is bad, except for when there's no way around it.
Yeah,
then it's frowned upon.
There are certain things that you were just never going to get again.
Yeah, and it's the only way to experience that game or that content is to pirate it. Then so be it. That's what you have to do if you really want to play that.
And if you're really into the developer and the developer is still around, I would say continue to support their things.
Yes, even if you're not going to play much of it, if you've pirated one of their games from back in the day and you don't like anything they've played out now. You pirated their game, give them $5. Buy some DLC even though you don't have the game.
Yes. So, I mean, piracy's here. The devs realize that. The publishers realize that. The console makers realize that. The consumer base realizes that. I think we just need to be responsible about it. Yeah. And downloading an emulator and 500 ROMs for your Ouya is not being responsible about it.
That thing is getting really bad reviews.
Do you?
Yeah.
I haven't even heard of anyone that has one yet.
It's not official. But there's everything I've seen has been there's some cool stuff, but it's not. No. But again, these are all pre-release dev kit type things.
Rumors.
So we'll keep you posted on that.
There's a difference between hunting down a copy of DuckTales 2 to the ends of the earth and not finding one. I've physically seen 3 copies of DuckTales 2 in my life. Never bought one. And
all too expensive.
Going on to a ROM site and going, DuckTales 2, DuckTales 1, PAL version, Japanese version, all the other D games, all the other E games. Let's just download all the Nintendo games.
Start, go.
Yeah. There's a difference. So if you enjoy a game, you want the developers to eat, which you should if you enjoyed it, try and support them.
Well, I don't know.
But I think we're going to get away from that. Once again, I think the next 10 years, piracy is not going to be as a problem.
It's not going to be the widespread epidemic it was a few years ago. And
things like the connected devices that we have and the Retron 5, which is a realistic look at tearing down the borders and being able to play everything for once. I think we're going to get away from it.
Yep.
So don't forget to spay and neuter your Pokemon, and we'll see you next week. When's next week? Next week's in 7 days. Bye!